Hello and welcome to episode 51 of Life in General. My name is Ian.
And my name is Lucifer.
Did I throw you off there, Ian?
A little bit.
Lucifer?
Yeah.
Why are you Lucifer?
Why not? You saying I can't be Lucifer?
No, I thought I was.
You just named yourself. You just said you were Ian.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So you're saying I'm Lucifer most of the time? So this is...
Yes.
I don't get it. I'm not Lucifer.
Well, yeah.
I'm
yes,
real.
You are Lucifer because Lucifer would never show up with notes.
Oh, I have a feeling he probably would.
You think so?
Yeah,
I think Lucifer would just like show up and like be completely unprepared.
No. You have to be kind of prepared to try to take over heaven. Something tells me he was probably, he's probably a busybody.
I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell I was going with that.
Yeah.
Like always, you can email us any questions or comments to contact@lifeandjournalpodcast.com. Check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. Ian, our Twitter handle
is at LIG Pod.
Yes. And always check out our website, which is
Life in General Pod.
Cast.
Podcast, yes. That's what
lifeandjournalpodcast.com.
Yeah, I knew that.
It sounded like it.
That's how I apply certainty to all things in my life.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
But we're on Podbean, iTunes, Google Play Music, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all that stuff. So we have a topic.
We do have a topic.
And we tried to do some shows that aren't very political in the last couple of months because,
well, our blood pressure can't take it mostly. At least
but because of the midterm elections, we are going to talk some politics. But before we get into that, so we had the show called the Entertainment Now podcast where we talked about movies and music and stuff like that, and we kind of ended that show back in August, was it?
Yeah, it's been a little over a month and a half. Yeah,
a couple months. But so we haven't really talked movies a lot, but we did just see a movie in common. Well, we didn't see it together, but we both saw the movie, which is
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes, God, I was drawing a blank there all of a sudden. But so I did want to kind of get your opinion on that.
Uh-huh.
What did you think of the movie?
I really enjoyed it.
Because critics
have been very rough on it.
Yes.
I think if you take out the fact that there are a lot of like dramatic liberties taken with it, not just with story elements, but also time frame and everything. Some of it's kind of truncated in terms of what actually happened and stuff like that. I didn't bother me that much because I thought the movie was well done
I've read a lot of reviews on it, and it seemed to be there's kind of a recurring theme to the critical reviews, and there's basically two things, and one of them I agreed with, and one of them not so much. Okay. The one big point, the issue that I had with the movie that a lot of critics had, because obviously I'm not a fucking critic, is the fact that in the movie they portray the band as breaking up.
Right.
In like 83?
Yeah, 82, 83.
82, 83. And obviously that never happened. The band never did. In the movie, Freddie Mercury leaves and takes a $2 million deal to do a solo record. Roger Taylor actually was the first one to make a solo record. I don't know if you knew that or not. He released...
I didn't know that, no.
He Fun in Space came out in 81. And,
is he the one who wrote I Love My Car?
Yes.
Okay. Which actually I'd never heard that song before.
Really?
And then I listened to it. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. No. But so Fun in Space came out in 81. Stranger Frontier came out in 84. So both of those albums came out prior to Mr. Bad Guy, which is Freddie Mercury's first solo album.
But the movie portrays him working on that solo album for a very long time.
Well, because in the movie he makes both, because he recorded two albums
together. Yeah.
So that's the whole thing, and so there's that, and in the movie, so the other issue the critics have
is the Live Aid thing.
It's not really. It's the AIDS diagnosis, because in the movie, he finds out that he has AIDS prior to Live Aid in 85. And he actually in real life didn't find out till 87. Didn't tell his close friends and family until 89. So that's 4 years after Live Aid.
Right. And in the movie, it's portrayed that he tells the band.
Yes.
While they're rehearsing for Live Aid.
Yes. In the movie, it's almost seen as that's part of the reason why they get back together and play Live Aid. And originally, I kind of felt the same way. I was like, well, it's not true to history, to reality, basically. And after I read an article, an interview from Brian May, he kind of explained, because he had a lot more input in the movie than I thought he did.
Well, he's listed as an excitive producer, but I think it's based on a couple books that he had, but it was at least contributed
mainly,
to.
It seems mostly it's Brian May and Jim Beach were the two.
Right.
That
I
really
think they're
oversaw.
listed. They were both listed as executive producers. Right?
No, Roger Taylor was. And Brian
was he?
May,
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think Jim Beach was given any kind of credit. I don't think in the movie, but from what I understand, he oversaw a lot of the creative things in the movie. But so what Brian was talking about was they wanted, because that was such an integral part of not only Freddie Mercury's life, his AIDS diagnosis,
but his
legacy, and the way that the disease was looked at in the late 80s to early 90s. They wanted that to be in the movie. But they wanted the movie to end with Live Aid. Because if you listen to a lot of music critics have said that performance is one of the greatest live rock performances ever. And it's fantastic.
It is,
If
absolutely.
you can go on YouTube and watch it.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I thought was really great about the movie, is it's almost a move-by-move recreation
of Live Aid.
When
it started, I was even thinking, I'm like, it would be weird if they didn't do this whole thing. Because it's only 20-some minutes.
And they didn't.
I know,
And,
but they
did. They actually recorded the entire thing, but they cut 2 of the songs out for the movie.
Right.
So hopefully, when they release it digitally,
they'll have
the entire the whole 20-minute set. And they were only supposed to play 15. I think they played 22 minutes is what it was. But so they
in the movie they say you have 22 minutes. They actually said that.
Well, in the movie they said you have 20 minutes,
something like
but
that.
it
said 22 minutes.
In reality it was only 15 minutes is what they were supposed to play. But so they wanted to have the AIDS diagnosis in the movie. Right. But if you end it with Live Aid, how do you do that?
Right.
And they didn't want to drag it out until his death. They didn't want the movie because the
movie's not about that.
No. And that was the thing that a lot of the critics, a lot of the reviews I read, where they were talking about, I think they missed the point of the movie. And it's a movie about music.
Right.
It's a movie about band. It's not really, there was one article, and we talked earlier about it, I read one article where the critic, basically his whole argument for the movie was there wasn't enough homosexuality in the movie.
Right.
Where in reality, I don't think Freddie Mercury ever said that he was gay.
I don't know. At the very least, he was bisexual,
and that's I think that's what he always kind of claimed to be, is because he had relationship with women through the 80s.
Yeah, and that was left out of the movie too.
It was,
yeah.
But
some high-profile relationships.
There was a German actress
and the supermodel, I think.
Model. So it's. I think the critic kind of missed the base on that, because it's not a movie about homosexuality, and that's what the whole article was talking about. Was they made Brokeback Mountain was what 10+ years ago.
At least.
So and there was one gay scene in that, and it's been kind of a joke ever since then. So finally, you have a big budget movie about a homosexual in quotation marks icon, basically, and you leave the whole homosexuality out of it for the most part. And
I think it plays perfectly to the fact that I don't think he was ever really sure of himself.
Yeah. And I think that's what they were going for in the movie.
I mean, to me, that's more realistic anyway.
Yeah.
Especially back then. I mean, it wasn't something that would be as easy as it is today. How many out homosexual performers were there in 1985? I mean, it's legitimately out.
None.
Exactly. And even the fact that it was a part of his life, it was not him. It wasn't. That's not the whole of
it's not what defined him.
Exactly. It didn't define him in any way, especially when put up against the music and what his contribution to music was, and his interactions with the band.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that interplay was fine, personally. And I get that, and I guess to that extent, then I would assume that how he told the band of his diagnosis was probably how it happened. It's just where it happened in the timeline is different, correct?
Correct.
Based on what you're telling me about Brian May, what Brian May said.
Well, I don't know. Ooh, that was really loud. Sorry. Yeah. But no, I'm not even really sure how it went about, how he told them.
Right.
I just know it was several years after the fact.
Well, I'm just saying that if Brian May was pointing out why they made the decision to show that sooner in the actual timeline for the movie, it would seem to me like at the very least they would still try to recreate the way it was done.
Yeah, I'm not really sure on that aspect of it, but I know like there was a lot of stuff in the movie that was kind of condensed together.
Right,
like,
that was definitely noticeable.
You know, his relationship with Jim Hutton started in '85. Right. Obviously, it didn't start on the day of Live Aid, though. Right.
Yeah.
So there was several things throughout the movie that didn't really happen in maybe the sequence, but they were still as true to reality as you can get. Mary Austin has said that the proposal in the movie, and so there was
their relationship across,
but there was two like pivotal scenes that she was in. There was the where he proposed to her, and kind of their breakup when she realized that he was bisexual,
or well, she claims gay.
She claimed gay, but she said those were almost word for word reenactments of
how it happened.
Right. He didn't propose to her the day that they found out they were going on tour. You know, it was.
That's what I mean. It's not so much
there was
the
minor
things we
things.
saw. We saw them the way they happened, but not necessarily at the time that they may have happened. Yeah.
You know, the whole "We Will Rock You" scene was out of order.
Yeah.
You know, that came out on News of the World in '77, and the movie took place in '80.
Right.
Is it that big of a deal?
Not really. I mean, if you're a purist, I mean, if it was a band that you followed your whole life, it's like your favorite band in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
It might bother you. I can see that, but you know, for the casual fans, and I mean, I would classify us as casual Queen fans.
Yeah.
You know, we're not. You know, they're not our favorite band, but they're in our wheelhouse of bands that we enjoy listening to.
Yeah.
To us, it's probably not going to matter as much.
Yeah.
And, you know, but if you're a purist, you're going to be pissed off about that kind of shit.
So the one article I was reading, and I'm trying to remember, I don't remember where it was from. Somewhere in the UK was the article the one article I was reading about where the guy had an issue with not enough homosexuality, basically. Right. Another big issue he had was the fact that Freddie wasn't portrayed by a gay man, which I don't know why that makes any.
Well, because we live in a world where, you know, and I get it when it comes to ethnicity to a degree. You don't want a white woman portraying an Asian woman because it's you know, they call it whitewashing. But as far as that goes, I don't remember, Malik something, whatever. The actor that plays him in the movie, was chosen because of his ability to act, but also the ability for them to be able to make him up to look like Freddie Mercury. So, you know, facial similarities, things like that. When you're going for something that's on the surface has to have a physical appearance that looks somewhat accurate,
similar.
You're limited on the amount of actors. If you want a good actor, and you want someone who looks like him, you just can't say, well, we're only going to see homosexual actors.
Yes,
it's not going to work.
And the other thing is, they didn't want him to look like an exact replica of Freddie Mercury,
right? And he doesn't.
I mean, they didn't even change his eye color,
right?
Because he's got blue eyes in the movie. Freddie Mercury had darker eyes.
That's the end of the stuff I wouldn't know.
I didn't even know either until I started reading up on it.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're not always gonna get those lucky moments where you get a Daniel Day-Lewis to play Abraham Lincoln, and it's like, oh my God, Abraham Lincoln's in this fucking movie, or The Doors with Val Kilmer and Jim Morrison. I mean, that's like a fluke. Those things don't happen.
They don't. But this critic was also, he wanted to see the Sacha Baron Cohen movie also, because he was originally.
But Sacha Baron Cohen's not a homosexual.
No, he's not.
So what difference does that make?
But he wanted to, because that movie was more about Freddie's sexuality than anything else.
Which again, it doesn't define who he was.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie really kind of wanted to show what he was, not just to the world, to his fans, to his friends. And the loneliness that came with it.
Yeah,
I thought the movie did that.
And I think it played great to that point. But the one of the directors that was attached to the movie early on,
Bryan Singer.
I don't know if it was Bryan Singer or.
I think Bryan Singer was there from pretty much the get-go until he was not. So.
Okay, but whoever, no, because it was somebody else. Somebody else. It was a different name, because I know who Bryan Singer is,
right.
but I don't remember who this guy was. He even said that the original movie was, quote, outrageous in terms of his sexuality and outrageous in terms of naked scenes.
Why is that necessary?
Why is it? Yeah, and that's my whole point.
I mean, just go make a fucking porno if that's what you want.
Yeah. And he also said regarding the movie that he imagined that Freddie Mercury would have approved of it. And I don't know, because that's one thing that Freddie Mercury was always very private on.
Exactly.
The last, I think his last public interview was like 88. 87, 88, something like that.
Well, there's video footage of him filming videos.
Yes. I'm talking about like public, like a public interview.
Right.
And he was several years before he died.
There aren't a lot. You can usually go online and find interviews with a lot of people who are long gone. It's hard to find them with Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if he would have approved of a movie that was more outrageous like that and flamboyant.
Even before I saw the movie, I never got the impression, because I've watched a few little like documentaries and stuff on him, and I never got the impression that he wanted to be defined by anything other than the music.
No,
personally, that's again, these are from documentaries that some of them were 15, 20 years old.
Yeah, I
never got the impression he wanted to be defined by anything other than that.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie, and I think the movie did that.
Yeah,
the movie we got did that.
And I don't want to ramble on too long about this, but the other kind of knock that I read from a couple critics was some of the campiness of the movie, like the whole
how they wrote some of the songs and stuff like that.
Well, not only that, like the whole Mike Myers scene, which I thought was really funny.
It's like an in joke. I mean, that shit probably happened, but not some of it.
No, well, so Mike Myers plays Ray Foster, who is EMI chief.
Yeah.
But obviously, there was never a Ray Foster. He's kind of loose, from what I understand. He's loosely based on Roy Featherstone.
Okay.
Which he was a huge Queen fan.
Right.
The only issue, he did have an issue, I guess, with how long the song Bohemian Rhapsody was.
And those kind of things still happen today. You know.
But you know,
it's hard to convince an audience it's hard to convince a radio station it's not selling music, they're selling ad time.
Yeah.
To play a 6 or 7 minute long song when that's 2 ad breaks when they could have popped in there,
Yeah. But so there's one scene where Mike Myers makes the comment something about
headbanging in a car with the kids.
Yeah, which was fantastic.
I loved it, yeah.
The
whole audience got it.
Started
too.
laughing, yeah.
The whole audience I was with, and it was a full
critics
house.
With sticks up their asses didn't like it.
Yeah.
They had an issue with that scene.
There's not. I didn't find anything wrong with that. Even at the moment when I was watching it, and really kind of when I went into it, I was hoping that it would be as realistic as possible.
Yeah.
When I heard that, I was like, I didn't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah.
And like I said, the whole audience reacted in a way that was appropriate to what it was meant to be. It wasn't like, this wasn't a comedy, but that everyone got it.
Yeah.
So I thought it was good. I thought it was well done.
I went into it hoping it was going to be a good movie, and I think it exceeded my expectations of the movie. It was better than what I thought. I've already seen it twice.
Yeah,
it was
better.
I haven't had a chance to, but it was better the second time I saw it. Actually,
yeah. To be honest with you, what really makes the movie is the performances, for me, and the Live Aid thing at the end is phenomenally shot.
It's fantastic.
I mean, it's a little overplayed to the fact that according to the movie, they weren't getting any pledges. But the second Queen starts playing, they start.
That
was a little overblown.
Yeah,
that's about as
too.
camp. That's about the only camp I didn't like.
Yeah.
That part. But beyond that, I got choked up with that movie. I don't get choked up easily. You know, I don't like artificial. You know, these movies, they have this tendency to you don't see it, but there's almost like a moment in some movies like this where it's like. Like in the live performance, live TV, the applause sign comes in.
Yeah.
You know, it's like cry now, laugh now. I didn't get that. I got choked up, and it was real.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't so much any of the other stuff. It was the scene with him and his dad at the end.
Yeah.
Because he was doing what his dad had always wanted him to do.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter how, he was just doing it.
Yeah.
That part choked me up a little bit. So yeah.
Unfortunately, he never came out to his parents.
Though that.
But I mean, it's just, I don't know.
But it wasn't even about that. It was about him doing what his father.
Yeah, but it was all part of that scene.
It was part of that scene,
to,
true.
yeah.
But and in the movie, he doesn't really come out. He just says, "This is a friend of mine."
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone knows.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a good movie. Go see it, I guess. But
yeah, I liked it a lot. I did. I really enjoyed it. It'll be one that I buy. For sure.
Yeah, like I said, hopefully when it comes out digitally, because I don't buy DVDs anymore.
You don't buy physical media?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I buy records. I mean, it's media, but...
You don't buy physical
movies.
Video
Correct.
So.
I buy mine digitally. But so hopefully when it comes out, they've got the whole extra 2 songs in it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And I actually, just a side note, I just actually bought 2 Blu-rays on Amazon.
Did you?
I haven't bought a Blu-ray in ages, and I just bought 2.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the last time I bought a movie. Yeah. You know what the last time I bought a CD was?
No, when I couldn't tell you.
2007, I think. Yeah, wow. 2007. It was before I moved to Tennessee.
I've bought 3 CDs since 2000, maybe since 2007, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought Underwater Sunshine by Counting Crows on CD. I bought Thick as a Brick 2 by Ian Anderson on CD. And I bought Homo Eroticus by Ian Anderson on CD. That's it. Those are the only CDs I've bought. And Homo Eroticus I bought on CD the same day I bought it on vinyl. Because I wanted to listen to it on my way home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, which one did you buy on vinyl?
Homo Eroticus.
I didn't know they released it on vinyl.
Oh, yeah. Thick as a Brick 2 I had to buy separately in a package to get it on vinyl. But Homo Eroticus was released on the same day with on vinyl. So. But anywho.
Yeah, don't mind me.
I was wondering what happened. For all of a sudden, I'm the only one on the show now.
And I pulled an Ian and disappeared.
Yes, this is... I'm
multitasking.
Life in general no longer exists. This is now the Ian show.
The Ian show.
Yes.
Ian already had one of those. He didn't fucking do it.
He
did 3 episodes.
Never say never. Never say never. Again.
Isn't that a Justin Bieber song?
I don't know, but Never Say Never Again is a James Bond movie. The last one with Sean Connery.
Well, I know that, but...
Well, that's what I was going off of. I don't go quoting anything by Justin Bieber.
Come on, you're a believer.
I am.
He's
gotten all white trashy now.
I've got one of his albums on vinyl.
Every time I see him, I just think of, like, Trailer Park Pedophile. No,
really?
He's got that, like, I don't know, trailer trash, like, mustache. Like,
dirt stash?
Dirt stash, and his hair's all scraggly.
I don't know. I haven't seen him in a long time.
I don't know. He's dating Alec Baldwin's daughter.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I think they're engaged.
Huh. So it was before this turns into an episode of TMZ. Let's,
TMZ makes fucking money, man. We should start doing something like that.
That is very true. So what's going on with the Kardashians lately?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's the downfall. If we started doing that, we'd actually have to pay attention to that shit.
Attention to that bullshit.
Right.
Real quickly, I do want to say that Bohemian Rhapsody is. I don't even think it's one of their. It's barely maybe one of their top 5 songs.
Is that a personal thing?
That's a personal thing.
Yeah. They've got a lot of good songs.
I think Under Pressure is actually their best song.
Yeah, I don't know if I go that far. That wouldn't be one. I guess I shouldn't say that. It wouldn't be one of my top 5. My favorite Queen song is the Flash Gordon soundtrack. The theme song is fucking awesome.
That's good. But about Under Pressure, there's actually a video on YouTube. I know this is your area here, talking about YouTube videos. But you're always.
I watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah, you do. But there's a video that is just the audio from that song, and it's fantastic.
You mean just the?
I mean, just the vocals. I mean,
oh yeah, okay.
It's just the vocals from the song.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Isn't there a YouTube channel that does that with a lot of bands where they just take the vocals out?
Is there? I don't know. No,
I thought you told me.
I saw it on Facebook. There's some Facebook videos where they do that.
Oh, well, they're probably shared from YouTube.
Probably. I don't know. I've watched probably 20 YouTube videos in the past 2 years.
Well, you're missing out because if you filter through all the shit, there's some good things in there too. Yeah. I watch. Hey, if I can deal with some stupid shit, but I can't deal with that kind of stupid shit. Yeah. So if I'm watching YouTube a lot, there's content on there that's not fucking stupid.
So now on to the portion of the program.
The really stupid part.
Now let's get to the part of the program where I don't have notes for.
Yes.
Midterm elections. Obviously, I'm assuming you voted.
Of course I voted. I was there. I went right after work because I get off at 7 in the morning. And my polling place is literally on my way home.
Well, did you have any issues first off?
I had no issues whatsoever.
Was there wasn't any long lines or anything?
There
like
was.
That?
My polling place polls for 2 separate districts.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, I'd have to look at it. I think I'm District 2, and I think it was. Well, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Districts. Look at my card here.
Your
precinct. I'm sorry, precincts. 2 different precincts.
Really, that's interesting.
Yeah, Precinct 1 and Precinct 2, and I noticed that Precinct 1. If you look at the map, is all the very, very high-end houses.
Say affluent.
We'll say affluent. Yes, okay. I've got other words for it, but for the purpose of this podcast, we'll say affluent. And Precinct 2 is more the commoner, I guess, region or area. That's where I live. I had no wait at all. I literally walked in. She said, "What precinct are you?" And there's a line at this point. I walk in and I see this line going like away from me and down a hall.
Okay.
And she goes, "What precinct are you in?" I said, "Precinct 2." She said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah, I'm sure."
Fairly sure.
No, I knew where I was going. I said, "Yeah, I'm sure." And she goes, "Are you 100% sure?" I said, "Yes, I'm Precinct 2." She goes, "Okay, right through this door." I went right up and voted.
Oh, okay.
So everyone in that line was Precinct 1.
Oh.
So I don't know what that means.
It was kind of, I guess, now that you mention it, I guess my polling place is probably the same way. There's actually 3. There's 3 separate lines at mine.
Okay, so 3 precincts.
So when I went, there wasn't anyone in line for any of the 3 of them.
Okay. What time did you go?
It was like 11:30.
Oh.
In the afternoon.
So lunchtime, you would think there'd be.
No, I wanted to I wanted to go before 12 because I wanted to beat the lunch rush.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I pulled into the parking lot probably 7:45.
Yeah.
In the morning, and like I said, that one line was around the corner. So.
Yeah, I heard that from several people that voted earlier in the day that said that there was like maybe one of the 3 lines was really long.
Yeah.
But the other 2 not so much. But I don't know. I didn't pay attention to which way where the precincts broke down.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have either if they hadn't asked. I would have just because I don't pay attention to that kind of shit. I just knew where I was supposed to go and where I was supposed to vote, and from there I just follow whatever they tell me to do. Yeah. So,
I mean, what were your takeaways? I mean, I know that there was a lot of Democrats that won.
Yes.
Not as
many. My biggest takeaway from it all is too little, too late.
I don't think. See, and I'm kind of along the same line. I mean, what does it really say?
It doesn't accomplish anything.
Yeah.
So there's a few extra checks against the president if you're against the president. Sure, that's a good thing. I mean, it's not a bad thing.
I think there should be, regardless of what party is in has the presidency. I think
there should always be checks.
There should always be.
We think that.
Yes.
And if it was a Democratic president, they would think that too. But that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You know. Hillary used a private email server, and then she should go to jail for that. Trump knows his phone has been hacked by Russia and China, and he still uses it, and no one says a fucking thing. So you can't look at it like that. You know, unfortunately, tribalism is here to stay.
Yeah, and we talked before the show that there was my issue. My big takeaway is the number 46.
Yeah,
you know, if you look at the House popular vote, Republicans took 46% of the votes in the House.
Mm-hmm.
President Trump took 46% of the popular vote in the last election. And last time I looked, his approval rating was 46%.
Okay.
So you're not going to change any of the...
Well, apparently that has changed because his approval rating has gone up from 36% a year ago to 46% now. So someone's changing there in that 10%. 38% is his base. So he's actually got back 2% of his base and gained 8% somewhere else. So there is change there. There is some wiggle room. It's not in the favor of the Democrats though.
No, and that's the whole thing is he's going to have 46% of the vote. Republicans are always going to have that 46%.
Supposedly.
So when I see people on TV beating the drum about this whole blue wave.
There was no fucking.
There was no blue
wave.
It
was barely a splash.
And yes, Democrats were able to turn out votes. They were able to get their base to actually get off their lazy asses and go vote.
Have you seen the actual numbers? I mean, I know it was the most. It was the highest number of voting since in a midterm in a long time, but. Did we actually see the numbers relative to, say, the 2016 election? Because I'd be curious to see, just if we compared the two.
I'm sure they're out
2016
there. I haven't seen them.
Compared to 2018.
The numbers I have, let's see here.
Because the Democrats really shit the bed in 2016 by not showing up. And if they did show up, they didn't do enough. They didn't show up enough. I mean, maybe there were too many options. I don't know. I don't know what happened here, but
no, because
this blue wave that everyone was talking about, like I said, it was barely a splash. And I'm seeing, unfortunately, I have a lot of friends on Facebook who are Trump supporters, and I've seen a lot of them posting things about a red wave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't see that either. But there's just sure as shit no blue wave.
I think, Democrats definitely came off, I think, with a better night than Republicans.
Yeah,
did.
a better night. But, I mean, what does that say? It's not...
But that's exactly it.
They should have come out... There should have been a blue wave. Because everything that has happened in the last 2 years, I know is not supported by the vast majority of this country, theoretically. Yeah. So if everyone who was registered showed up, then there should have been no question. It would have been a blue wave because it would have been an indictment on how the White House and this administration has handled things. Yeah. And it wasn't. There was at all.
Well, no. You saw what?
It was like I said, it was so underwhelming as to almost not even fucking mattered.
Yeah. I saw there was a video posted on Facebook, and I know I hate getting shit off social media. I hate social media in the first place, but
yeah.
So there was a video someone posted on there. It was George Bush's speech after his first big midterm loss, and then it had President Obama after 2010,
right, which was his big
midterm loss. They had those two videos, and then they had President Trump's press conference after this midterm,
right.
And Bush and Obama were talking about how they needed to bring the country together,
reevaluate everything.
Yes, yeah. And they need to work with the other party to get things done, and they need to do better for even. George Bush was talking about how they need to be better at reaching out and working with the other side and things like that. And then you have President Trump that goes out there and I don't know if you saw his press conference. It was basically a hit list. He goes down and
I heard about it. I didn't see it
name by name. Yeah, I saw it. I didn't watch it live, but I saw the video of it. He goes down name by name. Well, this person,
doesn't support me here.
Doesn't support me, and this person doesn't support me, and this person lost, and ha ha ha, they didn't support me.
Right. Well, he even said several times during the campaigning that voting for the people he endorsed is a vote for him. Yeah. He said that. Those were his words.
Yes.
So of course he's going to do that.
Mm-hmm. But he's able to take what generally would be a down night for Republicans, and at least in the eye of Republican voters, turn that into a great night for Republicans.
Right. Yeah. That's why that's the point I was trying to make, because I mean we've had this we've discussed heatedly over the last couple of years how Democrats keep shitting the bed because they don't know how to deal with him. And you've pointed out accurately, we can't deal with him the way he deals with us.
No, because it doesn't work.
But we have nothing else to deal with him.
That was a big but, by the way.
Yeah, we don't have anything in our arsenal then.
No.
Policy doesn't work. You can't go out there and just talk about policy. It doesn't fucking work. You can't go out there and talk about the bad things he's doing. That doesn't work. And I mean, even not the mudslinging. I'm just talking about just the bad things he's done that are obvious to everybody.
Yeah.
Calling himself a nationalist, endorsing right-wing white supremacists and shit like that. These are things that are very easy to just go out and say.
Yeah.
None of that works. So what do we do?
See,
go ahead. I don't want to overtalk you. I was about to, but go ahead.
I just want to say real quick that I think Democrats in this midterm election were able to lay the groundwork for better days ahead. I don't, and I want to say that just because I think the next election, I think 2020 is a loss. I think 2020, I would be shocked if the president wasn't reelected. But with this past election, my big issue with the Democratic Party for the last 15, 20 years is, for the most part, they've ignored state elections.
Yeah.
And I think this changed. That changed with this midterm. You know, they picked up, they won 15 gubernatorial races, I want to say, in the country.
That sounds right, yeah.
You know, so they had a lot of big important states they had large gains in. They were able to turn states that went for Trump in the past election, were able to turn the governor's mansions blue, a lot of state seats blue. That is kind of the road going forward. You need to be able to show, outside of the big cities, you need to be able to show people in rural America that democratic values and democratic ways works for the average family.
Very true.
Because the Republicans have done that for the past 2 decades, and that's why they're winning. That's why they've won.
Well, but see, the thing is they say that, and then their policies are completely antithetical to supporting lower middle class people, whereas the Democrats aren't saying it, and their policies do actually help the middle class.
But because Republicans have run a majority of the states, they've been able to drive the narrative in those states. Yeah. Whereas now you can have a Democrat's face on what is going on. Any positive gain, even if it's not necessarily the result from that governor or from that body in the state, they're still able to put that face on what's happening to the family. If you get what I'm saying,
I get it. But here's the other problem. Democrats, they get this minor win, and they go back to doing business as usual. They're talking about putting Nancy Pelosi back as Speaker of the House.
I have a huge problem.
Gretchen Whitmer assigned that Blue Cross Blue Shield CEO to her cabinet. They're just jumping back into their old their old habits, and then we fucking lose.
Yep.
So what is my question is, where do we go from here? We can't fight on his terms. We can't fight on our terms. So what do we do? What are our options at this point?
In the near future, they're bad.
Okay, what are our options now that we can't fight on his terms, can't fight on ours, and Democrats just keep going back to their old ways. So I don't think short term is even. Yeah, short term's done. There's no short term solution. I don't think there's a long term solution either.
I think there is.
I don't
think there is.
I
because
don't.
First off, I don't want to. I mean, the people that just won elections, they don't get to do anything till the beginning part of next year. So I'm gonna
give them the benefit. I'm
gonna give them the benefit of the doubt.
You gave Trump the benefit of the doubt.
I did.
Too.
Yeah, I did. And I was really fucking wrong on that.
Yeah.
But we'll see, because I think that's the road that Democrats, as the Democratic Party, needs to go down. They need to go down the road of, look, people in rural Michigan, people in rural Indiana, Iowa, Pennsylvania.
Ohio.
Well, I mean, they need to be able to show those people that policies that are driven by Democrats,
liberal policies,
that they work,
liberal secular policies.
Yes, because that's the thing. If you can show these people, look, this is what we want to do in office, and they actually are able to enact it, and it helps them, then they're more likely to vote blue than they are red.
Possibly.
You can possibly change that mindset. You might be able to at least say, look, this is what we've done for you. Because the Republicans have been able to do that for 20 years.
Yeah, but they're not giving anybody anything. And here's the thing. Obama did that. He got 30 million Americans insured, and it didn't do anything. It didn't change a fucking thing.
I'm talking about on a state level, though, not on a national level. Because
I'm not even sure if there's enough stuff going on.
Because
you're
right.
Level.
You're right. On a national level, President Obama was able to do some big things. But the problem was the Republicans in the states were able to stall and delay and rework the narrative. And if by some crazy chance or fluke a Democrat wins in 2020 and has these democratically controlled states, maybe things will be different in the long run. We'll see.
Maybe. I wish it could happen too, but I think you and I are both on the same page that
there is no simple solution to any of this.
No.
And from the jackasses I see on TV, they're acting like, we should be having parades down the street
because of what happened.
Because of the wave election.
Well, I guess maybe we're watching two different things because I haven't seen that necessarily, but I'm not seeing anyone taking it seriously other than Bill Maher. Bill Maher's the only person
I haven't seen the show the last couple of weeks.
He's the only one I've seen who's still taking it seriously and saying, yeah, we made some gains, but it's not enough. Yeah. It's not enough. And he's the only one I see saying it other than myself. And I said it the day after. I was like, this isn't enough.
No, because if you look at it, took a monumental, historic event, record turnout to get people to get
these Democratic
wins. For these modest wins, for these modest gains.
Yeah.
It took a monumental feat to get modest gains.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at.
Yeah. And that's what I was talking about. It's difficult to be optimistic too, and I don't understand how people are. And I get mad when I see people saying things like, this is a huge thing that we made huge gains. And I have seen. I guess I have seen it a few times on TV where they've said, the blue wave statement is gone. It's gone from the narrative already. But talking about these huge gains we made in the House. People hear huge gains. They don't think just the House. Yeah. They think, and they think, well, I can sit it out in 2020.
Yeah,
I don't need to come. I don't need to show up.
No, they actually lost. They lost seats in the Senate.
They lost seats in the Senate. Where the Democratic governors are still outnumbered.
Yeah, they've made big gains, but they're still
still outnumbered.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's dangerous because it's only going to create complacency again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand it. I don't get it.
But that's the way it's been. That's the way it's always been. And that's the thing. You look at these huge record turnouts, and you're still seeing that Minnesota had 64% of the registered voters come out and vote. 64%, and that's a historic turnout.
Right.
Texas, 46% turned out in Texas to vote.
That's just total number of registered voters.
Yes,
that's sickening.
55% in Georgia. You're looking at these states, and you're thinking, where are the people? Where are these people?
Right. Why do they even bother to register if they're not going to go? I don't know. That's another thing. It is very easy if at least in Michigan, you go in to renew your license. It says whether you're a registered voter or not. If you're not, they ask you if you want to register to vote. You don't have to fill anything out. They just click yes in their computer. You're registered to vote. It's that simple. And I've had to change, my where I'm registered to vote.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
Yeah,
it's not hard.
No,
so if you're not planning on voting, why even bother? Why just say no?
I think the big takeaway from this election is the fact that women are getting involved.
Yes, and that's one of the things. There's two things that came out of this midterms that I'm happy about. One is the historic number of women candidates who won, and the first openly gay governor. those are awesome things. Those are very awesome things.
I mean, if you look at the numbers, so in 2016 you had 312 women running for Congress, which is a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
In 2018 we had 529.
Wow.
Yeah. So 200 more women running for office.
Yeah.
Oops. Hold on.
And I know, like I said, I know a lot of them won their respective seats.
Yeah, I mean, just in the House alone, you had in 2018 235 women running, whereas in 2016 you had 167. Nominees for the Senate was 22 in 2018 and 18 in
2014. You said 16 earlier. That's why I can't see it from here. So your screen.
Well, this says 2012. So that was the last
first term, or no, it would have been second term.
No, it would have been second term. I don't know. Well, that's the number compared to. It says 2018 to 20. I think there's probably a typo. It's probably supposed to be. Oh, I'm sorry. It says the previous record was 18.
Record. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I got what it says. So the previous record was 18, which was in 2012, and there was 22 women running for the Senate this year. So
it beat that record.
So it beat that record. Yeah. So I mean, it's good to have. Obviously,
the first Muslim elected to the House.
No, it's not.
She was the first Muslim woman, and she's, I think, the first
Muslim woman. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, she won. Whatever she was running for. It wasn't in my district, so I didn't have that say. So
there's been a 44% increase in female congressional candidates since 2012.
That's big.
Yeah,
it's very big. We need more of that. Honestly.
And a 75% increase in women of color candidates for Congress.
We also need that.
A 13% decrease in white male candidates, though. So
we need that too, because quite honestly, the white males are the ones who keep voting for the bad choices. Myself and you excluded, of course, but still.
So yeah, it's great to see more diversity in our Congress. I don't remember
That's the only hope I have for it, to be honest with you, in general.
I don't remember there's a Native American tribe. I don't remember the name of it. And I read it about a long time ago. But basically, the women are the ones that ran the tribe. Mm-hmm. And the man's role was to go out and hunt and to take messages from tribe to tribe. That was it. The women made all the decisions in the tribe.
Huh.
No,
are they still around, or did the white man destroy them?
Did the white man destroy them? No, I think they're still around to this day. I'd have to look up and see what the name of it was again. But
I mean, not to say that they weren't, even if they're still around, their culture was raped and pillaged by white.
But yeah, I think you're right. We definitely need to have more women of color, in
more minority groups. I think just more minority groups in general.
More voices. Something other than the standard white man.
Right, exactly. The crusty old white man.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Yeah. Some of these young white guys coming out, they're good. They're fine. Well, at least they appear to be. They appear to be. But we need more diversity in leadership.
Yeah. You know, and
I'm not one who says diversity just for the sake of diversity, because I don't like that. It's ultimately self-defeating. But when it comes to actual leadership and people who are legislating the future of our country, we need diverse ideas. We need diverse inclusion. Mm-hmm. That's an area where it's necessary.
And I think a lot of people look at Nancy Pelosi and that's kind of the reasoning behind their support for her.
Because she's a woman?
Because she's a woman.
There's plenty of other Democratic women who are far more capable and far more likable.
Yeah. But and so the argument I've heard in favor of her is, well, the next couple of years fighting against President Trump's agenda, we need to have leadership in place that is tough and that has been through these fights before. And I'm like,
she couldn't fight those fights before.
She couldn't. She couldn't.
She couldn't even get with a majority. She couldn't even get them to vote accurately on the Affordable Care Act.
No.
She is ineffectual and unlikable. Nobody likes her. The Democrats don't fucking like her.
No.
Half of them have signed a petition so that she doesn't become the Speaker.
And the thing is, when you have putting her as Speaker of the House, is just one more thing that President Trump
is going to use against
Democrats.
Exactly.
It gives him a boogeyman.
Yes.
The same thing he had with Hillary Clinton.
Yep.
Even though a lot of it was bullshit and made up.
Well, he still does. He still brings up Hillary. He still brings up President Obama.
Yes, because
constantly. Because he needs the boogeyman.
He needs a boogeyman.
And now he'll have one that's actually in office.
Yeah. They need to bring new blood in. And it's the same thing in the Senate.
Yeah, I agree.
They need to have new leadership.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's the problem with the Democrats is they shoot themselves in the damn foot.
Right. Well, I mean, there's cronyism in the Republican Party. There always has been. Trump's kind of fucked that up for them. But it exists in both parties. The problem is the Democrats need to let go of it because they're never going to win if they don't. Unless they start bringing in the unknowns, allowing more progressive ideas and more progressive candidates into the hierarchy of the party.
Yeah.
We are going to continuously lose.
Yeah. I mean, I saw something. Well, I don't remember. It was just recently. It's within the last week or so. It's been obviously since the midterm election. Was that Joe Biden is the favorite?
Yeah,
right now,
his name's been thrown around a lot for running in 2020. And don't get me wrong, I like Joe Biden. I like him a lot.
Fucking win.
But he can't win. He's too old. He's too old guard. I don't want to say old school. He's old guard.
Yeah.
And it's only going to reinforce that Obama boogeyman.
Yeah.
And I mean, even that's when Obama was coming out and helping out, campaigning for candidates in this past election. It helped to rally some of Trump's base.
Yeah.
I saw 2 separate posts that were not shared memes. They were actual posts from people on my Facebook feed who said, "You're not president anymore. Sit down. We don't want to hear from you anymore."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Trump wasn't president for 8 years, and everyone didn't have a problem hearing what he had to say about the president.
Nope.
But still, I don't think Obama was doing anything wrong. But
no,
Biden is going to automatically be carrying Obama's baggage with him.
Yeah.
At least as far as the Republicans are concerned. And it's going to hurt him regardless. He can run on all the good stuff that him and Obama were able to accomplish. He can run on all the good things that he could potentially accomplish as president.
Uh-huh.
But it will never matter because he will not be able to get even a small percentage of the few Republicans who might be on the fence. He won't do it. He will not be able to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there is anyone who could. But it's not him, and it's sure as fuck not Hillary.
You mean
Hillary, you're done.
You mean
it's time to retire.
Sway some of the Trump supporters? Or?
I'm talking about the ones who are supportive of Trump and Republicans so far, but are kind of on the cusp. I don't want to say they're independent voters because they're not.
Yeah.
But there's some who would, it would only take a good candidate to get them to go.
And that's the problem is, I'd like to see the Democrats bring out some youth.
Yeah,
bring out some youth in the party, and bring them to the forefront.
To our Texas friends, I don't think it's Beto O'Rourke.
No, I don't think so either.
Give him 10 or 15 years.
He seems
maybe.
like a nice guy, but what has he done? I mean,
well, that's the thing. He doesn't have any experience.
No. Now, granted, they said the same thing about President Obama, but he had worked. He'd worked in state government before.
Worked in state government. He'd been a senator for 2 years. Yes, he had some experience. And the thing that O'Rourke doesn't have, that Obama did, he doesn't have the oratory prowess that Obama had.
I mean, he's
when Obama good, talks, I don't know. He's good, relatively speaking, when you compare him to fucking Ted Cruz. And that's my point. Nobody on the fucking planet likes Ted Cruz. His own family does not fucking like him. Yet he still continues to win.
Yeah.
We had a dead pimp win in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
He's dead, and he still fucking won because people could bring themselves to vote for a Democrat over a dead pimp.
Yeah.
Or he's a brothel, whatever the polite.
He ran a brothel.
He ran a brothel,
okay.
But essentially he's a fucking pimp. The dead Republican pimp was more preferable to the voters in Nevada than the live Democrat. Yeah. And then going back to Roy Moore, who was essentially a self-proclaimed pedophile. He did everything but admit to being a fucking pedophile, and he almost fucking won.
Yeah.
That's what we're dealing with.
And it's the same thing. It's like I keep going back to okay, but who? Okay, but who? I like Sherrod Brown. Before we started recording, I talked about him. He aligns himself with a lot of things that Bernie Sanders has said and done over the past couple of decades. But he's still in his 60s, I want to say.
Right.
I mean, it's like how many old...
Elizabeth Warren doesn't have the stamina to go up against Trump.
No, she's proved that several times.
I don't know. I know you like Gavin Newsom, but I do. I don't know. I think he's not gonna run in 2020. No, he's not. But even if he did, he might stand a better chance if he was going up against someone other than Trump. But the Republicans will throw that whole hippie, liberal, homosexual supporting San Francisco thing at him.
Yeah, because he was mayor of San Francisco for a long time.
I mean, that's a big thing. If you listen to the shit that I listen to, as far as the stuff that comes out of the extreme right wing evangelical side of things, San Francisco is essentially hell on earth.
Yeah,
because of their support of the homosexual community there. So your Bible Belt will never vote for someone who's associated with San Francisco. It just won't happen. Maybe in 50 years when all the those old ideas have died off with the population.
I think,
but as of right now, it's not going to fucking happen.
I think the bigger knock against Gavin Newsom is just the fact that Republicans have been able to steer this narrative that California is a cesspool and it's there's a mass exodus from the state of California because of this and that and right. The emission regulations and their taxes but if you look at the state, it's thriving.
Well, the parts that aren't burning up.
Well, that's very true.
Yeah.
Which, according to President Trump, is all their fault because it's mismanaged.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't. How do you? Because
even though the federal government is responsible for forestry in the state of California, that's
well, not only that, but I mean, it should seem that it's very easy to manage a wildfire, right? Something that's wild.
Yeah.
He's accusing them of not managing a wildfire. The whole definition of wildfire is that it's not manageable.
And I don't think he ever even acknowledged the hundreds of people that have been injured and killed in the fire.
This big one right now that's going on, the campfire that they're calling it.
Yeah.
The death toll just crossed 60.
Yeah.
And the loss of property and injury. Yeah.
It's in the tens of millions. But real quick, I did want to say the Gavin Newsom won the California governor's mansion with a little over 61% of the vote in California. So that's a pretty big number.
That is a big number. Like I said, he'll never. I mean, granted, a lot of Democrats aren't going to get the Bible Belt vote anyway, but
no,
I think that gives them a boogeyman. You like to point out that religion isn't the problem; it's the people, and I can't argue with that. But you have to understand that the people that follow these religions are listening to Pat Robertson and Joel Osteen.
Oh, yeah.
They're listening to these by the millions. They're listening to these people who've said that Hillary Clinton has a secret pedophile ring under a pizza place.
I know.
And they believe it.
I know that.
So it makes a huge difference.
But there's, as far as like Gavin Newsom, look, and I've followed his political career for I've been talking about it for almost a decade now.
On and off.
But he's he has legislative experience.
Yes.
He has the energy to do it. He can speak just as well as any politician out there. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his speeches or anything.
He was on Bill Maher.
He's been on Bill Maher a couple times.
Not that Bill Maher's the only thing I watch, but
and the other thing is he has no problems going after the president. He does it all the time.
Oh, I know. It's easy to do that when you're already governor and you're the governor of California.
That's true. But like I said, in the state of California, he still only got 61.3% of the vote.
Right.
Which...
Well, see, because of the Electoral College, you not only have to get the popular vote, but you have to get the popular vote in the right states. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Democrats they have an utter disadvantage because of the Electoral College. The Electoral College, I understand why it's there, but it solely gives the benefit to those states.
Yeah.
By trying to make it fair, it took away the fairness from other states. Michigan, California, states that are bigger than some of those states down there have less say than the states down there. And all of that was put into place just to appease the Southerners who were still sore and butthurt over the war.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the problems we have are because of that.
So what you're saying is Lincoln should have just let them go?
Honestly, yes. In hindsight, now, what? We're 170 years remote, or 160 years removed almost?
Roughly.
155 years removed. I think as we can look at it from hindsight, you should just fucking let him go. The war would have come eventually anyway, but at least right now we wouldn't be having to deal with their backwards horse shit.
To a certain extent, yeah. I guess I just want to finish on this note. And I was reading an article, and like I said, I don't remember where it was. I've read a lot of shit this past week. But it said this is a big if the 2020 election has the same voter turnout that this midterm election had in the same states, had the exact same numbers across the board, a generic Democratic president candidate could win the presidency without Florida and without Ohio, if the turnout was equal.
Right.
And like I said, that's a big if.
Well, and the way Florida's going, Florida's a bit of an up in the air thing now, anyway, isn't it?
It has been for a long time.
Yeah, but it's always leaned red. Always leaned red. If there was ever a debate or dispute, it would always fall on the red side, and it always has.
Well, not always, but
most of the time, and at least where it's counted, it has. Ohio, I'm not really sure. Ohio is one of those states that I just think about. I'm like, why are you here?
I think all Michigan says that.
Yeah, I guess. What Ohioans should do one day is they should start at the end with one end of their state and just drive straight through to the other side of their state and look at it and go, yeah, why the fuck are we here? Because there's nothing going on there. And I can say that because I'm never running for office. So,
and it's funny too because I can tell a difference in the people going from Kentucky into Ohio.
Right.
There's it's
just a bridge too. It's one bridge separating the two, and you can tell the difference.
But there's a huge difference just in mentality. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't want to bash on people in Ohio too much, but
well, I'm not necessarily bashing on the people, although a lot of them deserve it. But I'm bashing on the state as a whole. It has nothing to offer. It's just nothing. It's just flat nothing.
Farmland. That's about all it is.
There's plenty of farmland elsewhere. We don't need Ohio.
Oh, no, I'm just saying that's about all it is.
Yeah, but it's just flat, and there's just nothing going on.
Now, granted, I'm pretty much only driving the I-75 corridor.
True, very true, but still.
You're not venturing off towards Columbus and Cleveland and all that.
I can drive literally from my house to your house and still find things interesting to look at.
There's some long stretches in Ohio where there's not.
There are most of the stretches of Ohio. There's nothing, just nothing going on there.
So I don't know, Ian. We'll end it like this. What's your long-term outlook for the Democratic Party? Because I think I've
imprisonment, political prisonership, a nationalist
you
government.
Really think so? I don't think it'll get to that point.
Nick, to be completely honest, and I guess this could come off as hyperbole or not, I'm not even certain that I won't be a political prisoner in 10 years, regardless of my political views. I honestly feel that we're on the brink.
We're rolling down the slippery slope.
No, I don't want to use that word. There's a very, very fine line. This country's always walked this line.
Yeah.
But we've always walked much closer to the right side of it. And we're so very close to just walking right over it to the other side.
I don't think we're that close.
I don't think you see the same things I'm seeing and hearing the same things I'm hearing.
I am.
Why aren't they registering with you? Why aren't you more afraid? Why aren't I know you agree with me on the separation of powers, but we have a full-on, not separation of powers, separation of faith from politics. And we have a full-on army of people who have power now who do not believe that wall, that separation exists or should exist.
But Ian,
and you don't understand.
That's been going on for a very,
We've
very
always
long
had
time.
the protection, and you know as well as I do. Look at every other country where that line does not exist, and look at what happens to people like me in those countries. And tell me I shouldn't be fucking afraid.
It becomes a better country.
Nick, you should be afraid.
I know
you're not the kind of Christian they like. You're not. You're the bad type of Christian. You're the Christian who likes the gays. Who's okay with the gays. I didn't say likes like. I'm just saying. I was saying you're the type who's okay with gay people getting married.
I was talking to Reese earlier. I was like, you could love your turtle. You just don't want to love your turtle.
Why? Who are they going to tell?
We were talking about salmonella and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Very true. Yeah, but you understand. This fear is not coming from nowhere. This is a real.
I just don't see.
You don't want to see it because you're still on their side to some degree.
No. I think it would take a lot more.
And if it does happen, I'll be dead long before they come after you.
I mean, Ian, you're going to die from smoking long before that. So.
Well, this comes back to that, doesn't it?
Well,
it has nothing to do with it, and I'm really trying to be serious here. These are my legitimate fears, and these are legitimate fears. These are things. 15 years ago, if you would have said that it was this close to us crossing that line, I would have said no, never happened. My views were essentially the same 15 years ago as they are now. I would have been right with you saying, "Oh, it won't happen." Now,
but
every day something new happens, and it's like, okay.
Hey.
This line, I'm not even sure if the line exists anymore.
But like I say all the time, that elections have consequences.
And
Nick,
I have never missed an election.
I'm not saying you. But
I'm the only person who listens to our show.
when you talk about huge voter turnout and you talk about 46% or 55% of the population or registered voters in a state.
Yeah. No, I know.
If you don't want to get locked up, get off your lazy ass and go vote.
And I do, but I still think I'm going to get locked up or executed in the town square.
Do they have town squares anymore?
I don't know, but I'm sure they can find one.
Actually, I guess we do here in town. But
yeah.
All right, well, I guess we'll leave it at that.
I don't want to be burned at the stake for being an atheist, and I don't want to be stoned to death, and I don't want to be beheaded. I really don't want to be beheaded. Given a choice, I'd take the stoning.
Speaking of stoned, I mean, here in a couple weeks it'll be illegal in Michigan, so.
Yeah, but see, that comes with a whole lot of baggage, too.
Different kind of stuff. Hey, real quick, I do want to say, yeah, all 3 proposals passed in Michigan.
Yes.
Which is awesome, because we've been talking about legalization of marijuana
a lot,
multiple times on this show. And, yeah, Proposition 2 and 3, 2 was the redistricting.
No more gerrymandering.
Yeah, which is going to be great. We'll see how it all pans out.
Yep.
Proposal 3 was about voter. You can register to vote the same day.
Same day registration. Yep.
So
we're just loosening the restrictions on voter registration.
Yeah, exactly. I think Proposal 3 also legalized straight ticket voting.
Did it really?
Yes.
I didn't even notice that when I read it.
And I don't remember if it had anything. They need to start doing early voting in Michigan.
I actually, if I would have known, I actually did have notes. I could have brought in my entire ballot because I copied my ballot. I highlighted all my candidates that I was voting for after reviewing them, and I had the proposals. I have that in my car, and I just didn't even think to bring it in.
But yeah, because you lived in a state before that had early voting, and it made a huge difference. Obviously, Democrats don't win down there either, but it's
true. But at least people have the option, because ultimately, this is how I see it. It's our responsibility to register. It's our responsibility to go out and vote. It's our responsibility to research the candidates that we vote for.
Yeah.
But again, we're also living in a time where voter suppression is blatant. they're not even trying to hide the fact that they're suppressing the vote.
Yeah.
And they're not just suppressing the vote of black people, of Native Americans, of women. They're trying to suppress the vote of the poor in general.
Yeah. Well,
which covers a lot of those minorities as well, but they do not want anyone other than rich white people voting, and they are being very blatant about it.
So I know I keep saying this, but real quick before we end the show, that because we do have to wrap it up. I'm part of this all politics group on Facebook.
Yeah, I think you brought it up before.
And for the most part, it's like the most crazy, right wing people you'd ever meet.
I think I was part of one too, and I think all the crazy people left that one to go to yours because all the crazies kind of died down on mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But I saw not just a couple, but several posts about how we need to change the election rules in the United States to where the only people that are allowed to vote are landowners.
Which most people don't own land.
Well, I mean, obviously a lot of the poor don't own land.
Right.
Young people don't own land.
No,
old people
don't really, because they get shuffled off to the old.
Exactly. So people that live in apartments and things like that.
Yeah, land ownership and equating that to voting, that's as archaic of a system as you could possibly get.
Well, it was the original.
It was the original. That's what I'm saying. It's archaic. It's
yeah.
in the extreme.
But so yeah, there's a lot of I don't know. There's some really interesting ways that could go. I just don't see it going quite as dark as you think it will, or
I guess in the long run, I'm secretly optimistic it won't too. If you're not willing to accept the possibility of the darkness, you're never going to be able to beat it.
How about this? Well, everyone act like this. That's the worst case scenario. If you don't want that to happen, get off your ass and go vote.
Well, that's not even the worst case scenario, unfortunately.
Well,
but, he could round up anyone who's ever registered as a Democrat and do the same fucking thing to them that they want to do the atheists. So your God ain't going to help you then.
That's even less likely.
Well, you do listen to his rhetoric, right? He's not even going after liberals anymore. He is literally saying just Democrats are ruining this country. He's trying to create the Democrats, turn them into the boogeyman across the board.
But it doesn't matter because the Democrats are going to give him a boogeyman to go after.
We need to give him one that's actually legitimately scary, though. Yeah, that's the thing, and we don't.
All right. Well, I mean, any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@lifeandjournalpodcast.com. I got to cut you off at some point. You'll go on forever.
You keep saying things. It just keeps pulling me back in.
Email us. Hit us up on Twitter and Facebook. Follow the show on Podbean and iTunes and all that.
Yep.
Jazz.
And I'm not a violent person, but if I ever find out you didn't vote, I know you. I will slap you in your face.
I've voted in every election.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to an audience of 3.
We have a lot more than 3 people listening to the show.
Yeah, I know, but still. I'm just saying, if anyone ever comes across this podcast and hears that, they know that if they ever meet me and they tell me they didn't vote, they're going to get slapped in the face.
I have talked to a couple people, and it's typically younger people, and it hasn't been the last couple elections. I think it was primarily when I lived in Tennessee that would be bitching and complaining about stuff, and I'd say, well, who'd you vote for? Well, I didn't vote.
There you go.
Well, don't fucking complain about it then.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I feel about it. And I've said it multiple times. I've said it dozens of times on this show. Politics is not a spectator sport.
Right.
Get out, get dirty, get involved.
It used to be okay to be a spectator sport, I think, but it's not anymore for sure.
All right, well,
I've never missed an election, so
yeah, neither have I. On that note, that's all I got.
I'll talk to y'all later.
Peace.
It was really depressing.
Was it?
Well, the way I said, I'll talk to y'all later.
Oh, well, say it again, Ian.
Talk to y'all later.
That was really loud.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell. Now I'm depressed again.
Depressed Ian. Old Eeyore.
Yeah.
Going to a party.
Oh, I don't know.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Peace.
Playing my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, old lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you two cobras, you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, them niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that you're sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bro. We taking the dub, hoping you get you some. This hit like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar signs. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck. Get well soon.